Our next speaker is Noah Nelson, who just you introduced to a little bit ago. He's going to do it on another topic as predation of juvenile paddlefish stock for ranching by some Piscivorous fish found in reservoirs of the United States.
Hi, I'm back. So I'm going to talk to you today about predation of juvenile paddlefish stocked for ranching by some piscivorous fishes found in the reservoirs of the USA. So the overview is I'm going to talk a little bit about reservoir ranching. I might just kind of gloss over this because we went through it. Also talk about the juvenile paddlefish vulnerability, paddlefish body depth versus predator mouth gape, predator species tested, description of the experiment, our results, and our conclusion. I might just go over this a little bit for the people that may have just joined us. Reservoir ranching is a low-input, sustainable stock and recapture fishery. It's seen to show that it could create new job and market opportunities, and as well as decrease pressures on the wild populations. And then in 2006, regulations were passed to allow the stocking of water supply lakes. And water supply lakes are defined as owned by a municipality or other public water supply entity. They provide potable water supply for the public. They're not owned by the state, and they're not managed by the Kentucky Department of Fish and Wildlife Resources. We have currently in Kentucky about 800 hectares stocked with paddlefish, and we are currently studying the effects of stocking in these reservoirs and the effects of paddlefish on productivity, and we're also monitoring paddlefish growth and survival during this time. So the objectives of this experiment were to find the size that predators no longer recognize paddlefish as prey, and then also to maximize stocking survival rates and minimizing the cost in raising fish to stocking size. While test netting in these reservoirs that we've stocked, we found several predators, and you can see these are some fairly large flathead catfish, and this leads us to what makes a paddlefish vulnerable to these predators. Paddlefish are soft bodied. They have no skeleton or hard bone. They have no spines or spiny fin rays. They have a very shallow body depth relative to their length, and they're continuous and slow swimmers. And this is a picture showing just how large the gape is on some of these predators. And that's the flathead catfish that you saw in the picture before. And this is a graph showing the mouth gapes of different predators in relation to paddlefish body depth. The red dotted line is your paddlefish body depth, and you can see that it falls well within the different mouth gapes found on these predators. And we used predators that are commonly found in central U.S. reservoirs. This includes largemouth bass, blue catfish, flathead catfish, and striped bass. And the paddlefish that we used during this test, we started stocking them into the predator ponds at 20 centimeters all the way up to 70 centimeters. And the catfish that we had stocked were about 70 centimeters to 90 centimeters. Largemouth bass were from 37 to 48, and striped bass were 55 to 72 centimeters. These are the ponds that we use. They're 200 meter squared ponds. We used a bird netting to prevent predation from raccoons and herons and other outside predators that might skew our results. And our paddlefish were tank reared. They were first started on zooplankton and then moved to a pelleted form. And once they became 20 centimeters of length, that's when we started our stocking trials, and the fish were randomly selected, and there's 15 fish, paddlefish that were placed into each pond, and after a week's time, the pond was seined and the survivors were taken out if there were any. This is our table of all of the maximum predicted paddlefish total length for each predator species. The catfish, the mixed species, is we put blue catfish and flathead catfish in a pond together. We also had a pond with just catfish in it. And then we had largemouth bass in a separate pond and striped bass in a separate pond. So the max total paddlefish length for each of those species is there, and I'll go into the graphs of them next. So this first one is our pond that was mixed with blue catfish and flathead catfish. And for the mixed catfish pond, you can see that we have a max total length of 62 centimeters, while our observed is just under 55 centimeters. And our max total length predicted for blue catfish is 59 centimeters. And the observed was also just below 55. And interesting to note, in the catfish, they actually had kind of a learning curve where at first they didn't really recognize the paddlefish as prey, but then once they learned that they were prey, then they readily attacked them, I guess. And then also for largemouth bass, they were kind of the opposite. As soon as paddlefish were stocked in there, they recognized them as prey. And you can see in the first 4 trials that 100% of the fish were eaten during that time. And the maximum predicted total length for largemouth bass was 53.5 centimeters. And this is the regression for striped bass. They also observed very quickly that paddlefish were a prey species, and our observed was fairly close to our predicted there at 44.5 centimeters. And then here's a comparison of all the species. Our predicted maximums that are in the first or the second column, and the observed maximums are right there in the third column. And the fourth column shows the percentage of predator total length. The interesting note there is that on largemouth bass, they were not afraid to eat a paddlefish that was longer than them. I don't know how they'd fit the rostrum in their mouth, but they found a way, I guess. So in conclusion, loss of stocked paddlefish to predation can be significant as they appear to be highly vulnerable. The predator fish tested in this experiment were able to capture and handle very large paddlefish relative to their predator length. And when catfish predators are present, multiple stocking sites should be used to avoid high densities in localized areas, and this will reduce predator-prey encounters and opportunities for catfish to become accustomed to the new prey species in the reservoirs once stocked. So here's our minimum paddlefish stocking size that we came up with for reservoirs should they have these predator species present. You see a flathead blue catfish mix was 37 centimeters, blue catfish 37 centimeters, largemouth bass 31 centimeters, and striped bass at 29 centimeters. And I think, is there any questions?